Hi. So this is part of a project I'm calling Protest Songs. It's a companion piece for an essay that I've written and I'll link to, which I'm going to release in a few days. The idea here is that I'm going to read hip hop lyrics as poetry because I believe that the same calls for change that you're hearing in the streets today have already been said by hip hop artists throughout the years. But they have been gone; those voices have gone unheard or been silenced for various reasons. Now, before I go any further, I want to say that I realize the absurdity of a white man reciting hip hop lyrics by a black person that's already been said with all that is going on today. But that is kind of the idea. And it's also a little bit analogous to how I feel about having to say that Black Lives Matter and having to argue that point in 2020. Um, that that the change that needs to occur is that white people need to change the way that they view black people, the way that they view America, and the way that they view people's everyday lives in America. And without this change from white people, real change will not occur. Similar cases, the abolitionist movement and the civil rights movement in the 1950s and 60s did not gain traction until enough whites supported it, simply because whites are a large majority in this country and they hold most of the positions of power as well. So that is why the call here is for white people to hear these lyrics, because they're the ones that need to hear them and need the change today. Um, the reason why a lot of these voices have gone unheard, and I'm going to choose hip hop lyrics a lot from the early 90s, is because once hip hop became mainstream in the early 90s, it was refashioned by record labels, and it was also placed in a larger cultural context by whites, using parental advisory stickers, calling it gangster rap, and really taking the paternalistic and savage views that have existed since the beginning of slavery and the white man's burden, and transferring them to hip hop, making the artists, making the music not art. People still argue today that hip hop is not music, and therefore making the artists not artists. Instead, criminals, um, gangsters, calling it gangster rap, making them subhuman, making them savage. And so that's the point of this project, is to read the lyrics as poetry, so that they're more easily heard. And I want to also will also direct you to a similar project by a good friend of mine, Charlie Healy, who does something called hip hop transcriptions, where he classically writes out um, hip hop songs in traditional music score so that you can see the rhythmic and melodic complexities. I encourage everyone to donate to the Bail Fund, other funds out there, and also to continue to protest and to do whatever to precipitate this change that we need right now. And this is just one strategy. If you find this helpful, this is a really easy thing to do. Pick a song that has affected you or help you become more woke to the change that needs to occur in black communities, in our United States, and maybe it will spread. So this is Life's a Bitch, which you can tell from the title, what Nas, the artist here, feels about life and how difficult it is being born into the ghettos of New York City in the 80s and growing up in the crack epidemic. He starts by talking about reaching the age 20, which is a milestone for black men because of the relatively few numbers that reach that without being incarcerated, killed, etc., compared to their white counterparts. And it's a song that does not glorify violence, but talks about how it is a part of his life and what he was born into, and the struggle to make enough money to leave it all behind. 20. It's a blessing. Essence of adolescence leaves my body. Fresh and physical frame celebrated 'cause I made it. 1/4 through life, some godly-like thing created. Got rhymes 365 days, annual, plus some. Load up the mic and bust one, 'cause while I puffs from my skull, 'cause pain in my brain, vain money maintain, don't go against the grain, simple and plain. When I was young, I used to do my thing hard. Robbing foreigners, taking their wallets, they jewelry, rip their green cards. Dipped to the projects, flashing my quick cash. Got my first piece of ass, smoking blunts with hash. Now it's all about cash in abundance. Niggas I used to run with is rich, or doing years in the hundreds. I switched my motto. Instead of saying fuck tomorrow, that buck that bought a bottle could have struck the lotto. At times I look back, loose cracks produce stacks. I cooked up and cut small pieces to get my loot back. Time is illmatic, keep static like wool fabric. Pack a 4-matic that crack your whole cabbage. Life's a bitch and then you die, that's why we get high, 'cause you never know when you're gonna go. Life's a bitch and then you die, that's why we get high, 'cause you never know when you're gonna go. So it repeats, but I'll just leave it at that. And to me, this is expression of realism from the ghetto, meant to be heard. These are the lives and the places that Nas was born into, and this is what the cry for change that people want, and a seat at the table. Thanks for watching.